Good morning, everyone. Can you all see me and hear me? So, my name is Ruby, Digital Marketing Officer here at Easystart. So, basically, I'm here to just welcome you all to Easystart's webinar. Thank you all for joining. And a special thank you to Ifia, Bettina, and then Emma. So basically, just what Easystart is about is Easystart is an online platform that young people, anybody of all ages who want to start a business, register their business, can just go on our online platform and then fill our form. And then within 10 working days, or sometimes even less, you can get your business registered for a sum of 350 cedis. That's if you want to be a sole proprietor. So for now, I'm just going to introduce our first speaker, Ifia Boatma, who is a Senior Business Regulatory Officer here at Famous Advisory. So Ifia is going to talk about the do's and don'ts of business registration and all of that. So before Ifia comes in, I'm going to tell everybody who has joined to follow us on social media. On Instagram and LinkedIn, it is EasyStartGH. On Facebook and Twitter, Easystart Global. So let's get this trending. Hashtag everything. Hashtag Easystart on Twitter. Hashtag it everywhere if you're listening. So yeah, we hope that you can stick and stay and then you enjoy this webinar. So Ifia, please, start with us.
Hi, thank you very much, Ruby. Good morning, everybody. You are welcome to this insightful webinar. My name is Ifia Boatma, and I'm a Senior Compliance Officer at Famous Advisory and Easystart. So please, today we are going to talk about all that you need to know about company registration, what actually goes into company registration, and what you have to take note when you want to register a business as a sole proprietor or as a company limited by shares. So in this presentation, we are going to talk about the need to register your business in Ghana, choosing a business name, types of business registrations we have in Ghana, common mistakes people make during business registration, and other compliances needed after business registration. So you ask yourself, why should I register my business? So there are so many businesses out there that people haven't registered. So somebody may ask, why should I register my business? So the first thing you should know is that registering your business with the Registrar General's Department will help you attain a legal status. So if you have a business that you haven't registered, it is not considered legal entity. You have to register your business in Ghana to attain a legal status. So I was able to put down some of the reasons why there is the need to register your business. The first is investment. If your business is not registered, no investor would want to invest in your business. Imagine you yourself, you are an investor and you want to invest in a business. The business must be registered in Ghana. The business must be registered in Ghana before you decide to invest in that particular business. Also, in order to be identified as the owner of a business, it has to be registered. So imagine you have a business that you haven't registered. How would you, imagine you have a business and you haven't registered that business. Nobody would know the owners of that business. So it will help you to be able to identify the true owner of the business. You have to register your business. So when you register a company limited by shares, we have the portion, the shareholders portion. So that is where we are able to know that these people are the owners of the company. The same thing applies to sole proprietor registration. Obviously, the proprietor is the owner of the business, so it will help you to take control over that business. And also for taxation purposes, if you have a business that you have registered, it will help you to pay your taxes, because all businesses that are registered are supposed to pay taxes to the government. And also for loans and other contractual agreements, if you want to bid for a loan or a contract, if you want to bid for a contract or you want to secure a loan from the bank, if your business is not registered, there is no way you'll be able to get that loan or you'll be able to win that contract. And the last one is identification and branding. So if you have a company that you have registered, it will help you to brand yourself. Imagine you want to register a trademark. And when you want to register a trademark, one of the key requirements is to have a business legally registered in Ghana to be able to apply for the trademark registration and use your trademark in Ghana and in other countries. So we move on to choosing a business name. So let's say you've made up your mind to register your business and you want to register your business. The first thing you have to consider is choosing the right business name for your business. And I would want to touch on the things that you have to consider when selecting or deciding on a particular name for your business. The first is meaningful. The business name that you are choosing must be meaningful. So let's say you have a business and you are saying that, okay, so let me name it JQRK Limited or JQRK Enterprise. What does it mean? Like, it doesn't even make sense. If it is abbreviation, it should make sense. Let's say your name is Dennis Kofi and you want to register an enterprise where you be selling electricals. So let's say you can say Denkoff Enterprise or Denkoff Electricals. It makes sense. So obviously the registrar will know that the proprietor's name is Dennis Kofi and he has made it Denkoff Electricals. That is where that one makes sense. But when you just use ABC like abbreviations, it has to make meaning before the registrar will consider it as an appropriate name that can be registered. And also it should be relevant to the nature of activity that you want to engage in. So let's say that you want to sell electricals. Then you say that you are registering a name, let's say Denkoff. Let's say you want to engage in electricals, spare parts, and other things. Then you say Denkoff Electricals. It means that, also, let's say Denkoff Groceries. It is not relevant to the nature of business. Denkoff Groceries and the nature of businesses, sale of electricals, spare parts, or in other appliances. Like, it is so irrelevant, like it doesn't relate in any way. So the name that you choose must be relevant to the activity that you want to engage in. More so, if you want to engage in more than one activity, I will advise that you don't limit the business name. It shouldn't be limited to only one particular activity. I gave an example as Denkoff Electricals, and you want to add spare parts or maybe sale of other appliances or other things that you want to do, you want to use the business to do. So immediately you say Denkoff Electricals, then obviously you are limiting your nature of business to only one activity. So in order not to be limited to only one activity, if you have maybe in future you would want to add on other things aside the electricals, I would advise that you just use a universal name without limiting the name to one activity. Okay, so I'll just read So choosing a business name can be quite frustrating as the registrar requires one to consider the features. So these are the features that I would want you to consider when you want to choose a name. It must be meaningful and also be relevant to the nature of business that you want to engage in. So we are continuing from the choosing a business name. So, there are certain names that if you are a sole proprietor, let's say you are operating one man's business, there are certain names that you cannot use. So let's say names of countries or town. As a sole proprietor, you cannot register a name like God is Great Ghana Limited, or God is Great Ghana Enterprise, or the Kiddies Haven Nigeria enterprise. Even with the Nigeria, it is not acceptable because you're operating in Ghana. So there is no way you can add Nigeria to the enterprise. So, but if it is a limited liability, you are eligible to use it. But if it is an enterprise, you cannot add Ghana to the name. And also names of persons related to days of the week cannot be used by sole proprietors. Like, let's say Kofi's Electrical Enterprise or Ahmed's Grocery Shop. No, you cannot use it, but you can use your full name. Let's say my name is Beatrice Efia Boatma. I can have a company and register it as Beatrice Efia Boatma's Grocery Shop because that is my name and that is accepted. So let's say nobody has used my name in the registrar system. I can go and say that, okay, I want to use my name, Beatrice Efia Boatma's Grocery Shop, and it is acceptable. So, but I can't say that Efia's Grocery Shop because I'm not the only one called Efia in Ghana here. Efia is a universal name relating to days of the week, so it will never be accepted. But I'm permitted to use my full name. That is if nobody has used the name in the system. And also local names can also be used for memorial purposes. I think some of you have seen names like Yadu Fies Memorial Hospital or any, let's say, memorial or something like that. You can use it for memorial purposes. Yeah, but you cannot use days of the week. So you can't use Yes Memorial Hospital, but you can use Yadu Fies because it is somebody's full name. Okay. So we move on to types of business registrations we have. So we have the sole proprietor business registration. We have partnership, company limited by shares, company limited by guarantee, unlimited liability company, an external company or liaison office. But for the purposes of today's presentation, I'll touch on the common ones that are registered in Ghana by Ghanaians. So we have the sole proprietor registration, company limited by shares, and company limited by guarantee. That is what most of us are very familiar with. I would love to touch on all of them, but for the purposes of today's presentation, I would like to limit myself to only the common ones. Maybe some other times I'll explain extensively on all of them. So basically, these are the processes and requirements for business and company registration. So when we come to the company limited by shares, please permit me to go back to my previous slide. Sorry about that. So we have the sole proprietor business. That is what we normally refer to as one man's business. That is where we have only one person acting as the proprietor. So let's say you have a very small business that you want to register. And you say that you don't have directors, secretary, or anybody, it's just a small startup that you want to register. So you register it as the sole proprietor business. And only Ghanaians are eligible to register this type of business. And it is the commonest and also the easiest and most affordable of all the business registrations that we do in Ghana. And we have the company limited by shares. I'm sorry I'm skipping because I said I'm going to touch on the common ones. So we have the company limited by shares. So the company limited by shares are those that we have the directors, secretary, shareholders. So when we say the directors are more like those who run the affairs of the company or the operations. Yeah, so they run the affairs of the company, and we have the shareholders. So the shareholders are the owners of the company, and we have a secretary. So if you want to register a company limited by shares, the Companies Act 2019 states that at least two directors, at least a company that must be registered in Ghana must have two directors at least. So it means that only one person cannot act as a director in company limited by shares. So you have your two directors, but for the shareholder, it can be only one person. And the secretary too must be only one person. You also have to have an auditor. And also a director can also become the shareholder. You have a company, you are a shareholder. You can also become a director and you get another partner to act as a director in addition to you, and you can also act as a secretary. You are eligible to do so. So you can act as a director. You, the owner of the company, can act as a director, a shareholder, and also a secretary. Then we come to company limited by guarantee. That is what we termed as the NGOs. So that is the not-for-profit organizations. Yeah, if you want to engage in it, if you want to register any organization that you look out for training people, or maybe for charity works and any other thing that's not generate profit for you, what you have to go in for is company limited by guarantee. Yeah. So these are the processes. So basically, these are the processes and requirements for business and company registration. So the first one is you conduct a name search. And at the beginning, I said that if you want to settle on a name, the name must be meaningful and also relevant to the activity. So you have to conduct a name search. The reason why we advise that you conduct a name search is because sometimes the names that you would want to use, somebody might have already registered the name, or somebody may have a similar name in the RGD system. That's the Registrar General's Department system. So it's better to conduct a name, because we've had stories where people, they will just settle on a name, and even before they register their business, they'll use it to design their logos and all that. So when we do a name search and they realize that there's a similar name or same name in the system, then it means they have to go back and change the logos and go back. Imagine if the person has used it for any other thing, like that is very I don't know how to put it, but some people, it is always better to conduct a name search to know the availability of the name before you use it for any other thing that involves money. For somebody, some people be complaining that I've already used the name. So you have to conduct a name search to ensure the availability of the name before you proceed to purchase the form at the in-house bank at the Registrar General's Department. It is also downloadable from the website of the Registrar General's Department. So you visit their website, the forms are there, you can download it and complete it with the required information. So basically, the information they will ask you will be the name of the organization, and it's always advisable to provide at least 3 names. Yes. So you have to provide at least 3 names, so that if they do a name search, if they conduct a name search on the first one and it doesn't go through, at least the second or the third may go through. Yeah, and also you have to state the nature of activity. That is the nature of business. And the nature of business, it should be very clear. Whatever you want to do, you have to state it clearly for the registrar to know that, okay, I am coming to register a business and this is what I will be doing. You have to state it. You shouldn't use any vague language, because if you use it, your documents will be queried. You have to provide the address of the company. And mind you, the address that you use can even be your residential address, because some people complain that I don't have an office yet, I don't have an address, so how do I go about it? Don't worry, you can use your residential address as the company address, because after the company registration, in a year or 2, or even after a month or after a day, you can always amend the nature of business or the addresses. Any other thing you want to do, any other amendments you want to do to your registration, you can do that. And when you are stating the address, please give the digital address, the correct digital address of the location, the house number, if it's a building, if it has a building name, state the building name, and also the street name, you state it clearly. And you have to state the email for the company, the telephone number, and the postal address. And also you have to give the particulars of the shareholders, the directors, and the secretary, as in the case of company limited by shares and also company limited by guarantee. So for company limited by guarantee, they don't have shareholders, they have subscribers. The reason they are not called shareholders because they don't own. For company limited by guarantee, that is the NGOs, they don't have shareholders, they have subscribers. They are the owners of the company, because there are no shares for anybody for company limited by guarantee. And they have executive council members. So they are more like the directors, as in the case of company limited by shares. So company limited by guarantee, they have the subscribers, executive council members, and a secretary, as well as an auditor. But for company limited by shares, we have the shareholders, the secretary, and the directors. And also for company limited by guarantee, the executive council members must be at least 2. But for the subscribers, it can only be 1. So basically, these are the information you need to complete the forms. So if it is if it is sole proprietor registration, what most of us are very familiar with, you just give the company name, the address, you state clearly what I mentioned early on. You state clearly the address, email, telephone number, postal address, and also the particulars of the sole proprietor. That's the particulars of the sole proprietor. So let's say I want to register a business. If I want to register a business, maybe I have the intention to register a sole proprietor business. If I have a daughter who is even 18 years, I cannot use my daughter as the proprietor. I cannot use my daughter as the proprietor and use my name. So let's say Beatrice Boatman's grocery shop, but then I would want to use another person for the paperwork. It is not allowed. Immediately I use my name or even abbreviation or even let's say Beatrice Ifya Boatman, and I make it Ifya Boatman's grocery shop. I can't even if I have another name, let's say Beatrice Ajiman, which maybe the Ajiman, I hardly use it. I can't say Beatrice Ajiman because the registrar wouldn't see Ifya Boatman in it. So the name that you use, so if you are going to use your name as the name of the enterprise, then that name should be used as the proprietor. You cannot use somebody's name as the proprietor because it is not allowed. So basically, these are the information that you need to complete the form for company limited by shares, company limited by guarantee, and also the sole proprietor registration. And you pay the official fee at the in-house bank at the Registrar General's department after filling the forms correctly. So when you are filling the forms, make sure that the part that does not apply to you, the parts that do not apply to you, you just state NA, that is not applicable. You don't have to leave any space blank, or you don't have to leave any section or any portion of the form incomplete. Also, so common mistakes that people make during registration: choosing vague or irrelevant names and incomplete information. I think I just touched on that. So other compliances after business registration. So after you register your business, depending on the nature of business, these are some of the compliance agencies that you also have to register your business with. For the Ghana Revenue Authority, obviously, we know that once you register your business, you have to register with the Ghana Revenue Authority, even for company limited by guarantee, because although company limited by guarantee, they do not pay corporate taxes, they are supposed to pay income taxes on behalf of their salaried workers. So let's say an NGO has people that they have employed that they pay monthly. You have to register with the Ghana Revenue Authority to be able to pay income taxes on behalf of your salaried workers. So let's say the nature of business includes something that pertains to the environment. You have to register with the Environmental Protection Agency to be able to get the permit to proceed with your operation. If it is something, let's say you are selling food or any other equipment that involves or that requires that you register with the Food and Drug Authority, because we've had inquiries where people come and tell us that they are manufacturing soaps. So they want to register an enterprise, that is sole proprietor registration. Right after sole proprietor registration, you are not eligible to sell the soap after you manufacture it. You have to register with the Food and Drug Authority to be able to test the soap to know that, okay, so it can be sold to the public because they will give you a permit to be able to do so. And Ghana Tourism Authority, if you want to register a restaurant, entertainment, or anything that pertains to Ghana Tourism Authority's regulations, you have to apply and get their permits to proceed with your operation. And the business operating permits, so in the jurisdiction where you will be operating, you have to register for BOP to be able to proceed. So basically, these are the things that you have to know about company registration. So first of all, I made mention of considering and deciding on a meaningful and relevant name. I also took you through choosing a business name. So the business name must be relevant. It shouldn't be vague. You have to conduct a name search when you want to register your businesses. And I also made mention of the processes and requirements that you need to take notes when you want to register your businesses. So I'm concluding with this information. So make sure you have all the information needed to complete the form. You must not go ahead to register a business name without conducting a name search. I made mention of people going ahead to use the name for other purposes when they haven't actually registered the name. I would advise that you conduct a name search before you can begin your company registration. And you also know your scope or activity of your business. You have to know what actually you want to do, because knowing what you want to do will determine the type of compliances that you need to register, or that you need to take notes. So I made mention of Ghana Tourism, Environmental Protection, and Food and Drugs Authority. So try and take notes or try and make research about all these things pertaining to your scope of business before you can proceed to register your name. So you know the capital requirements and the statutory fees applied to your type of business, because the fees that you pay for sole proprietor is not the same you pay for company limited by shares and also company limited by guarantee. So where you do not understand any parts of the form, you seek help. And indicate non-applicable where the option on the form is not applicable to you. So thank you very much. And I would like to take you through some of the products that we have here for Easystart. So if you want to register a sole proprietor, business, so these are some of the products that we have and our packages. So you visit our website and you take note of all these things, and you can also send us an email to make enquiries. Everything that you need to know, you just ask us, and we will be very glad to take you through all that you need to know. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ifya. So we thank you very much. If you have any questions for Ifya, I see people are raising their hands. If you have any questions for Ifya, there's a Q&A box down there. Just put your questions there. After that, we're going to answer all the questions. So the next person, our next speaker is Bettina Sewo. She's an account and finance executive at Famous Advisory. So Bettina is going to take over. I'm just going to introduce her, and then so please, I hope you guys are trending the hashtag Easystart live webinar. Start now, start easy. So Bettina is joining us now. She's going to take over. So Bettina, they are all yours.
Thank you so much, Ruby. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank Ifya for an insightful presentation. And I'd like to take over on the tax compliance for businesses. So my name is Bettina Sewo, and I'm from Famous Advisory. I'm a finance executive over there. Thank you. So in this presentation, we are going to look at accounting for startups in Ghana, taxation for small businesses, the types of taxes we have, and also the tax incentives we have as businesses in Ghana. So to start with, we would like to look at accounting for startups. So as a small business, accounting tracks the money that flows in and out of your business accounts. And this basically covers bookkeeping, that's recording your financial transactions. That's if you buy something, you record it. If you receive any funds, you record it. And also reporting, that's after recording the financial transactions, trying to create a simple report. And finally, filing your tax returns. And before I move on to the next slide, which is bookkeeping, I'd like to mention that we advise that as a business, you have a separate bank account for the business. So let's say you have a sole proprietorship and your bank account is the same as your personal bank account. It doesn't help to track your inflows and outflows. So we would advise that for proper business accounting, you set up a bank account for your business. So for your basic bookkeeping, you can get a notebook, and if you're a little bit tech savvy, you can get an Excel spreadsheet. You create a part that records your inflows. So when we say inflows, it's basically any money coming into the business. So if you sell your goods and your services, you record it. So let's say you sell rice, bags of rice. So whenever you sell a bag of rice, you record it. Whenever someone buys on credit, you record it. And also, as the owner of the business, whenever you decide to contribute or put some funds into the business, you record it. And whenever you decide to take a loan from a bank or a relative, anywhere, you record it. So these basically inform your inflows, that is the money coming into the business. And then we look at the outflows, what is going out of the company's coffers. So if you decide to pay for expenses, your electricity, your water, you decide to pay salaries, you should record all these things. And when you also take loans, like I said, if you take a loan and you repay the loan, you should also take record of this. Or let's say the director's contribution that came earlier, you decide to repay the director or the owner's contribution, you take record of this. We would advise a very good bookkeeping, because this would even help for you to track your inflows and outflows very well, so you know how much profit you are making. And we can't talk about tax without talking about a very good bookkeeping system. So it is very important that as a business you keep proper records of your expenses and your revenues, or your daily transactions. Okay. So moving on, we are going to look at taxation in general for small business. So our concentration this morning is for startups or small businesses. And the first step is to register with the Ghana Revenue Authority. So to do this, let's say one key thing is to know where exactly your business is located, then the nearest GRA office close to you. So if your business is located at Medina, then you'll be filing with the GRA office at Medina. You definitely won't file the GRA office as Osu or Wager. So if your business is located at, let's say, Osu, then you file with the GRA office as Osu. One would ask why it is even important to even register with GRA. It is important because, first of all, it shows that you are compliant. And also, as a business, at some point, you want to contest or also bid for certain projects and contracts. And these people will want to know if you are tax compliant. So they'll ask for your tax clearance certificate, which is a TCC. And you can only get this when you are registered with GRA. And tax also make people know that you are a serious business, because like I said, when you're bidding for a contract, they want to see that you're tax compliant. So the fact that you even keep proper records and you pay your taxes means you are a serious business. And also, it is very important that you register early so you can pay your taxes early, because eventually when GRA comes around someday and they see your business, they are going to make you pay the taxes from whenever you are registered. So it is advisable that once you register your business, you just register with GRA to avoid any problems in the future. And moving forward, we will look at what filing of periodic returns are. So periodically, you're supposed to file your returns with GRA. That is with your PAYE, your withholding taxes and VAT. That's if you are registered for that. And in the other slides, I'll show you when and what you are supposed to do after filing this returns. And also, the final thing is to pay your taxes. So after you filed your returns, the next thing is to pay your taxes. Okay. So we are going to go through the types of taxes. So generally, we have two types of taxes. We have direct taxes and indirect taxes. So direct taxes are borne by the business, and indirect taxes are borne by a third party. So when we come to direct taxes, we are just going to look at two for now. So we are going to look at the income taxes and the withholding taxes. So when it comes to income taxes, you can look at the PAYE, which is the pay as you earn, which is the tax calculated on employee salaries. So as a business, when you start your business and you employ one person, you employ two people, or even you, the business owner, is working, you are supposed to pay PAYE. That's your income tax on the salaries you are paid. And another tax you also have to pay is the withholding tax. So withholding tax is when you get a service from a third party. So let's say you go and buy bags of rice. So for withholding tax, one key thing you should know is the threshold is 2,000 cedis. So if you buy bags of rice for 2,500, you will have to withhold a certain amount and pay to the government. That's if you're a withholding tax agent. And there are different withholding tax rates. So for goods, the withholding tax is 3%, for works is 5%, and for services is 7.5%. Let me go back to the income tax. So when we talk about income tax, so there are also the corporate taxes. That's the taxes you pay as a business, which is different from the PAYE. So I know Ifia mentioned earlier something about NGOs. So as an NGO, you don't pay the corporate tax. So what you do is you just pay the PAYE for your people and you pay the withholding tax. But for other businesses who are in the business of making profits, because you know NGOs are not supposed to make profits. So if you are there to make a profit, then you pay your PAYE, you pay your corporate tax, and you pay your withholding taxes. And I'd like to go to the indirect taxes. So for the indirect taxes, we have the value added tax and the levies. And for you to qualify to charge VAT, your sales should be about 200,000 Ghana cedis annually. Yeah, so if you are below that as a small scale business, you are not allowed to charge VAT, and you would have to register for that with JRA too. So for these indirect taxes, they are added to the principal amount and paid to GRA at the end of the period. Okay. So income tax stamps. So basically this is a tax designed for individuals operating in the informal sector. So we are talking about people who operate in kiosks, tabletops, like very, very, very small scale. So that hairdresser or that seamstress close to your house who is in a very small kiosk is allowed to pay an income tax stamp. So this is how the stamp looks like. I'm sure going around, you've seen that some of these provision shops and some of these shops have these income tax stamps, and they are supposed to be for people operating in the informal sector. So that's the small scale self-employed tailors or seamstresses, the hairdressers, the beauticians, and also artisans. I'll also like to mention some examples of businesses that fall under this. So chop bar owners, cooked food sellers, the butchers and all that. And for these people, they have a fixed rate they pay, which is about 45 cedis or 25 cedis per quarter. And GRA looks at your business and assesses you based on how big your business is. But this is not a final tax. When we say it's not a final tax, meaning at the end of the period, Ghana Revenue Authority is supposed to come on and look at how much you have made and see if it is way above what you have paid. They are going to charge you an extra tax. Okay, So filing of tax returns. So right now that we are moving into a digital world, there's no need to walk into a GRA office with papers and all that to file your returns. So you can just file your returns online using the GRA taxpayers portal, which can be found in this link I've put here. And I would also want to mention the deadlines for filing returns. For PAYE and withholding taxes, the deadline is the 15th of every month. And for the VAT and levies, it is the last day of every month. So when I say the last day, it could be the 30th or 31st, depending on what day it is. And you should also take note that GRA doesn't work on holidays and Saturdays and Sundays. But now that we can do everything online, you just file online early and pay early. And you can pay right now with this data world, you can pay through mobile money, go to the bank or pay using your card. Okay, so I've said a lot about tax, about how you're supposed to be tax compliant and pay direct taxes and indirect taxes. I'd also like to talk about how we have tax incentives. The government is not only out here to take your money, but they're also here to encourage you to start businesses. So we have tax incentives for these sectors of businesses. So when you're in the agro processing business, you have a tax holiday of 5 years. So meaning for those first 5 years, you just pay an income tax of 1%. So whatever your profit is, you just pay 1% after profits. So let's say after the end of the period, when you've recorded your income and expenses, you realize that your profit is 20,000. You're just going to pay 1% of that to the government for the first 5 years. And this applies to the cocoa byproduct business in the country. That's the first 5 years, you pay 1%. The tree crop farming, the first 10 years, you pay 1%. The cash crops or livestock, the first 5 years, you pay 1%. When it comes to cattle farming, to the first 10 years is 1%. And when it comes to the waste processing business, is the first 7 years is 1% too. And if you've opened a rural bank, it's 10 for the first 10 years is 1%. And for the real estate, that's certified low-cost housing. That's emphasis on certified low-cost housing. For the first 5 years is 1%. So at the far end too, you see how much you are going to pay after this tax holiday. And finally, I believe most of us here are young entrepreneurs, and we are looking at what incentives we also have peculiar to us. So the government is saying if you're a young entrepreneur, that is defined for these purposes as an entrepreneur who is not more than 35 years old, and you are engaged in certain specified businesses. So basically, if you are not more than 35 years and you are engaged in these sectors I'm going to mention now, you qualify for these incentives. So for manufacturing, information communication technology, agro processing, energy production, waste processing, tourism and creative arts, horticultural and medicinal plants, and all that, you qualify for an incentive. And so it's 1%. And after all that, if depending on where you are located in the country, so if you are within Accra and Tama, after the holiday, you are going to pay a 15% income tax. That's the corporate tax. And the other regional capitals outside the three northern regions is 12.5%. So let's say if you are in Takrady, you are in Koforidua, or you are somewhere, yes. And outside the other regions is 10%. And for the three northern regions, you get a tax of 5% after this holiday. This brings me to the end of my presentation. But before I go, I'd like to let you know where you can find us. We are located on the 17th Swanika Street at Abilinkwe. And please follow all our social media handles. Visit our website, www.easystart.biz. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Bettina. That was very, very insightful. So we are waiting for our third speaker, Emma. So Emma is the VP of Marketing at Bezo Money. She's going to talk about how to use social media to grow your business. So before she comes in, please, if you have any questions, just put it down there below. And then after that, the speakers are going to answer all your questions. So don't forget to still trend Easystart. Trend starts now, starts easy. Follow us on Instagram at EasystartGH. Same for LinkedIn, Twitter, and all of that. So we are currently live streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook, on Thermos Advisory's Facebook, and Easystart's Facebook as well. So without not wasting much time, like I said, if you have any questions, just put them down there. After that, there's going to be enough time for question and answer. So finally, we have Emma Mami Ifwatando. So Emma, if you are here, you can please just take us through.
Okay, so my name is Emma. I'm a marketing professional, and I also offer digital marketing services to Easystart. So in my presentation today, I'm going to teach how to plan and know your why for getting onto social media as a small business owner. I'm also going to talk to you about getting to know your customer and your audience. And the third thing will be to take you through which platform is best for you and how to begin to build a community for your business. I'm also going to share about how to plan and decide on your content. And the last thing will be to take you through how to track, monitor, and optimize your social media performance as you grow. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so before you start, have a plan. It is important for every small business owner, before you get onto social media, to have a plan. There is that temptation that once you've registered your business, you've done compliance, you figured out your taxes, there are platforms, everybody's using them. So yes, let me jump on it. Let me find my logo, put up my profile picture. Let me do this, let me do that. But no, stop and figure out what your plan is. So your social media plan should be essentially a one-pager that is smart. So what do I mean by smart? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So there should be a roadmap that really details what you're getting onto social media for. What are your goals? What are your KPIs? Some people want to get on it to create visibility for themselves because they are not well known. Others want to build a community. Others want sales. Someone may have conquered Togo and Ghana, but they want to get into Liberia and Swaziland. So they want to reach new markets. You have to decide and know what your goals for getting onto social media is. And then next thing that you should have in your plan is a budget. So you do not need a huge budget for social media, but you should have some budget, because social media platforms now are pay-to-play platforms. There at some point, you have to put in some budget to make sure your content reaches enough and a lot of your customers and your audience. So have a budget, figure out a small roadmap. When you get online, what are the first things you're going to do? In 3 months, what are you going to be doing? In 6 months, are you going to do giveaways? And what are you going to be doing? So that's what your plan essentially should entail. And then the next thing, the most important thing I want to say is that start with the 80-20 rule. So a lot of people use social media for entertainment, for education, for information. You do not want to jump on social media and be selling. Nobody will mind you. Yes, there are people who will see your product and will have an immediate need, but a lot of people connect with people who they care about, who have a story to tell, who share, who share behind the scenes, why they started the business, the struggles that they've been through. So use 80% of your content to inform, to educate, and to entertain your audience. The other 20%, you can sell your products and your services. So just have this at the back of your mind before you start. The next thing is to know your value proposition. What is that one thing that makes you stand out as a small business owner, as a brand? So if you're a brand that is here, that is producing bamboo bikes, I think right now I know 4 companies that produce bamboo bikes. If you're here and you're manufacturing palm oil, There are other people who are manufacturing palm oil and they put their products on social media. What is it about your product or your service that makes you stand out, even compared to other businesses within the same niche? What is that one thing? So you need to figure out that one thing. Is it that your palm oil is fortified with some minerals and stuff which makes you really healthy when you buy it and consume it? Figure that out and create a story, create a message around that value proposition, and that will make you stand out on social media. Don't just start and just post, hey, my palm oil, this is available in 2 liters, is this, that. Yes, those are other people may carry the same product or brand in some service in some way, but what is it that is making you stand out? What is it that makes your brand stand out? And then design and know your service blueprint. It is important that once you get on social media, you're not losing customers. So figure out how you're going to be responding to people who come and ask about your product or your service. So design and know what your service blueprint is. And everybody within your team has to understand the service blueprint, and they have to sell it, because I like to say that aside influencers that you probably get at some point to market your products and services for you, you are your first ambassador. You're your first ambassador. Your team are your ambassadors when it comes to social media marketing. Make sure everybody understands this, so that even if one of your team members has admin access to your page and they are responding to inquiries about your product or services, they know exactly what to say. They know how to present themselves. This is very, very, very important. The next thing I want to talk about is to figure out who your customer is. It's not every brand. I think aside a few brands, maybe certain food brands, even with food brands, you're not really selling to every single person in Ghana. You have to know exactly who your customer is. So if you're the palm oil brand I talked about earlier, who exactly is that person who is most likely to buy your palm oil? What is their age? Are they between 25 to 35? Are they old people? Are they young people? What do they look like? What do they do? Are they workers? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they corporate people who are too busy to go to Makola market to go and get palm oil and are really worried about the kind of things that they consume? They're very mindful about that. What is their lifestyle? Are they aspirational? Where do they hang out? Will you find those people mostly on LinkedIn or on Instagram, for instance? So you need to build specific customer archetypes for your brand as a business. Once you identify these groups, and these customer archetypes do not have to be like 7 or 10, they could be 2. So one part of your one customer archetype is a millennial. So a millennial, someone aged between 25 to 40 years old, they're aspirational, they have an office job, they think about their health, they have some money and some purchasing power, they are this, they are that. The other customer archetype could be a Gen Z person. So this is like a university student, a secondary school student. They are this, they are this. They are most likely to buy, they are now into Fit Farm and everything. So if you are into a fitness brand or something, know exactly who your customer is. Once you do that, you're able to segment your product offering and sell specifically to that customer type. And for a business, a small business starting out, this is really, really, really important. So you are not carrying out the same message that you share with a Gen Z to the millennial who is online and looking for your product or your service. So know who your customer is. The next thing I'm going to talk about is your content, creating your content. And there are so many content types that comes with social media marketing. So gone are the days where people were just posting static flyers. Now you can share videos, you can create. A lot of people have smartphones, and as a small business owner, I'm sure lots of you have smartphones. You can create really small videos that share the behind the scenes of your business. You can create memes, GIFs. Instagram has Reels now, which are doing extremely well, and which gets you a lot of traction as a business owner. There are also infographics. There are also Twitter polls, Instagram has stories, Facebook has stories now. I'm not sure about Twitter. There are also live videos. You can go live. You can go live on your page when you start out in business. So these are the different content types that you should explore as a small business owner going on social media. Pay attention to trends also, but don't jump on every one of them. And the fact that something is trending doesn't mean that it's relevant for your business and you have to do the same thing. Some trends can lead you to having viral activity, which is great. It will bring a lot of eyeballs to your business online. So yeah, you can pay attention to those. Use also branded hashtags. That also helps in discoverability, people finding out, new customers finding out about your brand and about your product. It's important to show up and be consistent. Don't post one thing today and then for the next 15 days or 20 days, you're not posting anything and then you come back and post something else. It's important to be consistent with your content. And lastly, focus on quality over quantity, but stay top of mind. It's important that you post content that is relevant to your audience as often as you can. So if it's going to be, if you decide that every week you're going to post 2 pieces of content, you can do that, but stay consistent with it. If something changes, that could also change.
Emma, not to cut you short, but you have just 3 minutes more to wrap up.
I am so sorry. Okay, so okay, so which platforms do you start with? There are so many platforms that are online. There's Facebook, which is the biggest. Last time I checked, Facebook has 2.9 billion users. 2.9 billion. They're about to hit 3 billion. So it's still the biggest. I know nowadays a lot of young people go like, oh, Facebook is old, there's nothing happening on it. The new thing is TikTok, is Instagram, whatever. But Facebook is still very important when it comes to social media marketing. You don't have to be everywhere at the same time. So figure out, if you're a visual business, if you're selling food, if you're selling clothes, if you're selling something that's very visual, Instagram is really good for showcasing your products. Facebook, definitely use Facebook. You can try TikTok as well, because that's growing pretty rapidly. Once you know who your customer is, it's easy to figure out where they hang out. I shared this before in my previous slide. Every platform also has its strengths and weaknesses. Let me just go on to the next one. Be social. So leverage on partnerships, partner with other businesses and other brands. So a festive occasion is coming up. You may have something in common with another brand and you may want to leverage on their audience. So you can partner with them to create some kind of promotion. Social media also is social. So make sure you comment and you engage other businesses and other brands. It's not just about you. Reach out to your customers, organize promos, give freebies, ask for testimonials. This really go a long way into growing your brand. And lastly, track, monitor, and optimize. In as much as you're doing all of these things, you have to figure out, this thing that I'm doing on social media at this time, is it working? Are these static images working? Or should I start trying videos? Has this worked over the last 2 months? Should I do something else? So do have a social media audit every now and then, and monitor which platforms are working. The ones that you want to get off, there is nothing wrong with that. Get off those, focus on the ones that you're growing with. When I started my business as an entrepreneur, I realized that a lot of my referrals and customers were coming from Instagram. So I have focused on Instagram since then. Also, it helps you discern, the audits will help you discern posting times, when your audience is online, new traffic sources, and which content is performing really well. I also want to share the key takeaways from my presentation today. The first thing is to make a plan, have a budget. Second thing, figure out and share your value proposition, really important. The third thing is to know your audience. Number 4, be intentional about what you share, post great content at all times. Number 5, be human. That's why it's called social media. Be human. We are built to be social. People buy from brands that they care about and they love. Number 6, be honest. The internet never forgets. So don't be lying about things that you're selling or put information out there that's fake. No fake information. Authenticity is king on social media. And number 8, experiment and try new things. Social media is very dynamic. The platform is constantly changing. So please experiment. These are a few social media tools that I use for my business. You may want to write some of these down. As a small business owner, you don't have a lot of money. So for creating your own designs, Canva is my go-to place. You can sign up for it right now. It's available on the App Store. Yeah, so you can download it as well and use it on the go. For scheduling, there's Tailwind, which is really good. It incorporates so many other elements. There's Hootsuite, there's Buffer, there's Panoli. For stock images and illustrations, I go to Unsplash or Reshots. Please write some of these down if you don't know them already. For hashtags, hashtags helps like in discoverability, like I shared before. You can use allhashtag.com or hashtag experts. Tailwind, like I said, has an inbuilt hashtag. It will tell you which hashtags will do really great with the kind of content that you're posting. And then for video editing, InShot and Photopea is the free version of Photoshop if you can afford Photoshop. So that's it. Thank you so much. And I'd like to hear your feedback and your questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Emma. So if you have any questions, please just drop them in the Q&A. So we're going to send out our email, our phone number after here. Those who cannot ask any more questions, we are going to send you an email. So if you have any more, just send it to the email. That will be drafted to your inbox. But as we are going forward, the 3 questions we have, I think Efia and Bettina. So if you're listening, Efia, please just take over and then answer the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruby. I have 3 questions here. The first one is somebody would like me to touch on partnership. So partnership registration basically means 2 people, like 2 or more people coming together to form partnership. So here, the company registration, the processes will be the same as company limited by shares. I mean, the information that you need, but with partnership, they don't have shareholders. For partnership, they do not have shareholders. What they have is they have a partnership deed or an agreement that they will attach to the required document, the required form that they will complete. Yeah, that is what they will take to the Registrars General's department to register for the partnership. And here, one of the disadvantages for registering a partnership is that for partnership, the liability of the partners for the debts of the business is unlimited. So here it's not the same as company limited by shares where the liability of the shareholders are limited. For partnership, they are unlimited and only Ghanaians are eligible to register partnerships. And somebody is also asking where they register trademark. They register it at the trademark session at the Registrar General's department. Somebody is also asking requirements needed to register a clothing line. Please, the person must come clear on the type of business that the person wants to register the clothing line as, whether as a sole proprietor or as a company limited by shares. So that would determine the process and the requirements involved. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Ifya. So we have just one question more for Bettina. So Bettina, if you are here, you just take that one question and then answer.
Okay, thank you, Ruby. So I can see a question here from Aaron, and he wants to know, I think basically about the tax break for the young entrepreneurs. So I mentioned earlier about the tax incentives for young entrepreneurs. I think I mistakenly mentioned 1%. So there's actually a tax break for anyone not more than 35 years old for a period of 5 years. That's for 5 years, you are not going to pay any income tax on your business, but you must fall within some particular sectors. That you must be under the manufacturing, information, communication technology, agro processing, energy production, waste processing, tourism and creative arts, horticultural and medicinal plants. And Aaron also wanted to know the tax after these 5 years. So after the first 5 years where you pay no tax, after this, your tax is dependent on where your business is located. So if you are located in Accra and Tema, it's 15%. If you are located in the other regional capitals, that's outside the 3 northern regions is 12.5%. If you are located in other regional towns other than the capitals, is 10%. And if you are located in the 3 northern regions, is 5%. I hope this answers Aaron's question. Thank you so much, Ruby.
Okay, thank you very much, Bettina. So those who ask questions to Bettina and Ifia, if you have any more for Emma, just put them down there and then she'll answer. But before we go, I just want to say thank you to all the 3 speakers. You did good, you did your best. So if you have any more questions, we have our contact details that will be sent to you in our email. If you have any questions surrounding business registration, trademarking, and then tax filing and all those things, Easystart can help you with that. So we have just 10 minutes to wrap up. But before I go, just don't forget to follow us on social media. On Instagram and LinkedIn, Easystart Ghana, and on Facebook, this Easystart. So if you have any more questions, anything you want to know surrounding business registration and our location. So like Bettina and Ifia said, we are at 17 Swanika Street, Apelete. Just follow and you can get here and then we'll assist you. So since there are no more questions, I'm going to just wrap up and thank all our 3 speakers today and thank all of you participants for joining. I'm going to apologize again for the internet connectivity problem and the audio issues and all of that. We will do better. So, just stick and stay with us. There'll be more webinars coming soon. We're going to answer more of your questions. This is just the beginning for Easystart. So thank you all to our 3 speakers and we hope to see you again. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to Easystart Limited. You may probably have seen us through a Google search or one of our online ads, and you are welcome to our website. So I want to take time to just explain to you, we are a company that basically helps make it easier for you to register your business in Ghana. So if you are looking to launch your business in Ghana, Easystart is your right partner that helps make the whole process of incorporation totally seamless. Now, welcome to our product page where we give you 2 broad categories. If you're a Ghanaian seeking to register your business in Ghana, please click on Ghanaian businesses and you will have 3 options open up to you. We have sole proprietorship, we have company limited by shares, and we have company limited by guarantee. Sole proprietorship is for your typical one-man business, self-owned enterprise, you start on small. Company limited by shares is you having 2 minimum directors, a shareholder, you want to have your liabilities limited, this is an option for you. Company limited by guarantee is for your association, is for your church, is for your school, or a not-for-profit entity that you are thinking of starting in Ghana. So if you are interested or you fall in any of these categories, please look through the packages that we offer. The price you see at the top are packaged prices that gives you everything in one. You wouldn't pay anything extra beyond the price or the fee that you see for the package. And everything that goes into that pricing is indicated there. So take time and go through the 3 options. Once you are decided on which of them you're going in for, please click on Start Now. A form will be opened up to you. Feel free to complete the form, submit online without moving an inch from wherever you are, and then quickly you can also pay online for the applicable fees that are displayed on the website, and a compliance officer will get in touch with you to acknowledge and start the process. Now, if you are a foreigner also starting a business in Ghana, instead of clicking Ghanaian, click foreign businesses. So at the top, you see 2 big bars, the Ghanaian businesses and foreign businesses. So if you're a foreigner, please click on foreign businesses. You have 5 options displayed for you. It can be quite confusing, and this has been structured based on our laws. So go through each of the 5 options, whether you're starting a company limited by shares, whether you're a manufacturing business, whether you are seeking to import products into Ghana and sell, whether you are not for profit, whether you are trying to set up a branch company or an external company. These 5 options you see that takes care of everything. So please take time and go through the 5 options. You will find the right one for you. If you need to speak to a compliance officer before you decide or in making the decision, we are available to offer for you free consultation services, advise you to help you make that decision. Also, if you are thinking of you don't have a TIN, you don't have an auditor, you don't have an office address, please also understand that we have all that covered. You don't have to worry about any of those things. All of that has been put together in our bulk pack packages. All you need to do is to pick which of them is for you, and then click Start Now, fill the form, submit, and then quickly and the compliance officer will get in touch with you to help start the process. Within 10 working days, whether you're a Ghanaian or you're a foreigner, everything will be done for you and we'll be here to serve you and provide great value for you. So it's Easystart. We make it easy for you to start your business. Thank you, and please stay tuned.